Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of A Lot of Help with James Lott Jr. I am James Lott Jr., a certified life coach, among other things. I love bringing on returning guests, but this time, this returning guest isn't talking about the same thing. We're talking about something completely different. Let me tell you a little bit about him. So I'm talking to him straight away from Australia, which I've never been to yet. I need to get there at some point. I'll do that. He's the co-founder of the Swanwick brand of these Swanwick sleep glasses, which you guys know about. You can listen to our interviews from that, the blue locking glasses. But these are several things. He has a 30-day challenge, which is the alcohol-free equals massive impact. He has the guide, the Alcohol Freedom Formula for Entrepreneurs and Business Professionals guide. He has a thing called the Project 90 online program. He was a journalist, and he's done a lot of different things. But he's my friend. And I'd like to welcome James Swanwick. Hi, James.
Hello, James. Great to see you again.
Yes. How you guys doing down there in Australia these days?
Well, I'm in a state where it's pretty relaxed in terms of COVID-19. I'm in Queensland. Victoria is where there's very strict lockdowns, but in the state that I'm in, we're very lucky that it's pretty relaxed. There's no real cases. And so I've been taking COVID-19 time to travel around my home native state, which has been fun.
Yeah, it's great. So cause now you divide your time in America too. You go back and forth, right? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I've been living in Venice Beach, California for many years, but I came back to Australia at the end of 2019 and was just about to get on a flight back to Venice Beach in March, when all of a sudden the world shifted on its axis, and I've been in Australia ever since.
Yeah, no, I always say for me it was March 17th. March 17th, that was it, kids. And folks at home who are watching this, we didn't plan this. Yes, our names are James. Yes, we have shaved heads, and yes, we're wearing polo shirts. We didn't plan this.
And yes, we're both incredibly handsome.
Oh, I mean, that goes. I didn't even have to mention that, James. I think they know already. Maybe. So I want to bring you on for a while because, and thanks for answering my call. You have this philosophy. And now you turn it into a program, which again, you're that type of person. You think of something and you make it happen. I'm the same way. I love that about you. This kind of alcohol-free equals massive impact. Can you talk about this concept? Well, I think it's fascinating. Not about going through like rehabs and like that, but a whole other way of doing things. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, well, I was never, and I am not an alcoholic. I was just a societally acceptable drinker growing up in Australia and then later on in the US, where I would have a drink or two each night to wind down. I might drink a bit more on the weekends. I rarely got drunk, but I was just consistently consuming a drink or two per night over many years. And then I got to my mid-30s. I looked in the mirror one morning and I went, wow, like, you look pretty average. Your skin is weathered. You're not sleeping well. You're irritable. You're not being productive. A bit of fogginess. And again, I wasn't waking up in a ditch or getting a DUI. I mean, I was just, I wasn't getting drunk. I was just drinking what I was drinking, but it was enough to slow me down in my health, in my wealth, my love, and my happiness. And so in 2010, I committed to taking a 30-day break from alcohol. And in those 30 days, I lost 13 pounds. Yep. I slept better. I looked better. At the time, I auditioned for a job hosting a TV show, Sports Center on ESPN, and I got the job. And I credit the clarity and the focus for helping me get that job. And I got the clarity and the focus from being alcohol-free. And I felt so damn good. I thought, you know what, I'll just keep on going. And I haven't touched a drop since. So since 2010, and it's been more than a decade now. And then 5 years ago, I started helping non-alcoholics to reduce or quit alcohol, but really to change their relationship to alcohol. And we've helped 20,000 people now. And again, not people who, identify as being an alcoholic, but people who have a habit, and in many cases, a bad habit of drinking too much consistently. And they're the kind of folks who I really help. So when you say alcohol-free equals big impact, what my experience has been in my own life, and certainly the experience of the 20,000 folks we've helped now, is that when you either reduce or quit alcohol, you make a big impact in the world with your family, with your health, with your joy and your happiness, and life is simply better.
I'll tell you something, James. It's funny because I had an illness happen. I got Bell's palsy a few years ago, and my face was paralyzed, so I couldn't drink or do anything anyway. but I was trying to figure out how to get out of it. And I did a lot of research holistically and which foods to eat and things not to do. And I learned about what alcohol can do for you, can do to you in just regular life. So it's funny when I saw you post, I follow you online, of course, but I saw you posting, I was like, yeah, I see what he's talking about. It's not we're not talking about the heavy alcoholic that's, sledding around drunk or may have a chemical. And we're not talking about that at all. We're talking about everyday folks, right? This is everyday folks. You had a guy on your podcast, which is the Alcohol Free Lifestyle podcast. You can find it on Apple, that. He was saying about the 3 martini lunches. Like I remember those days too back in the day where you just automatically order drinks during lunch while you're in a meeting. You're having a meeting with a client. And I remember getting sloshed a couple of times inadvertently because it's like I'm not eating that much, and we're kind of having 2 or 3 of them, and we're trying to make deals happen. And I'm like, this is not good. This can't be good. So I kind of, when you start bringing this whole concept of just regular drinking, just the regular everyday things we do, it started making me look at everything that I do. It's so interesting. I like that, James, a lot.
Yeah.
So when you tell people this thing about, well, look at your drinking, like how do you approach people with that? Because first of all, people got to look within themselves. That's number one. That's like to anything, right? You got to look within yourselves and go, there might be a problem, but how do you address it for being like not a problem, but a problem?
Yeah, well, a lot of people deep down, either A, they know it's a problem, or B, they don't want to deal with it. And so they ignore the fact that it could be a problem. Mm-hmm. So a lot of what I do is to get people to think, is a drink a day really that innocent? Is 1 drink a day holding you back? What is the impact that 1 drink a day is having on you and your family? And just by asking that question, it gets attention because people are like, 1 drink's okay, that's fine. What's this guy talking about? He's trying to imply that there's an issue there. But here's the thing. 1 drink a day is just enough for your sleep to be compromised. And compromised sleep is enough for you to feel just a little bit more irritated in the morning. And feeling a little bit more irritated in the morning increases the likelihood that you're going to have a Snickers bar or a Gatorade or a chocolate with 2 sugars and some whipped cream to give yourself a little energy boost just to get going in the morning, which is just enough to put on a few more pounds, which is just enough for you to feel a little less confident, which is just enough for you to create a little bit more self-judgment, which is just enough for you to seek refuge in something to numb the pain of experiencing that, which of course turns out to be another glass of attractively packaged poison, the very thing that set you down this path in the first place. So it becomes this vicious cycle. And it's, in many cases, it's invisible. We don't really see it because it's kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. It's like these little energy drips, like drip, 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 drip. Most people are thinking, you drink too much because you got a DUI, you woke up in a ditch, you said the wrong thing, you got into a fight. No, it's this long death. It's this long destruction, invisible on a daily basis, but deadly over time. So I think just asking the question, is a glass a day of alcohol really that innocent?
You just demonstrated what I talk about all the time. It's the ripple effect. And I always say that we're all connected. You and I are connected. Yeah, we know each other, but we're connected also. Even if I didn't know you were connected, that we don't always see the ripple effects of what we do every day. But sometimes when we actually look and connect the dots, which is what you just did, you literally just connected the dots of someone's life, possible for someone's life. That's amazing. And that just shows, it's the connecting dots, the death by 1,000 cups. That's like the title of it's going to be the show. I love that. That's just like, I love it. But that's what it is. It literally is the cause and effect of everything we do. There is an effect to what we do, and making that choice to have a drink. This is not a drink, folks. This is just some sparkling water and juice. But that to drink that may cause you to eat that dinner you don't want to. You shouldn't be all the fatty food you shouldn't be eating. That will cause you not to sleep. You and I are sleep folk. We love to sleep. That's what James is all about over there. And so you don't sleep really well, and you just kind of like, well, I kind of tossed and turned. Why did I toss it? Why did I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Which I used to be a nurse, and they say a lot of times you wake up early in the morning, it's your liver, it's kidney, it's all kinds of stuff. So I agree with you. I think that's a great explanation, folks, to hear that. That is completely, it's a ripple effect. You may not know it right away, but 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, you will know the effect.
Well, the effects are happening right now, every day and every night, but just tracing it back to that one seemingly innocent glass of alcohol, sometimes it takes many months or many years or in some cases decades before people all of a sudden go, the penny drops.
Mm-hmm.
But it's happening. So, in the most loving and supportive way I can say this, wake up, people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, and not in an accusatory way, like I said, a very supportive way. It's time to wake up. Society has had us believe that this attractively packaged poison is something to desire, and it creates joy and connection and all this kind of stuff. It's temporary and it's illusionary, and it's killing your life and holding you back. It really is. Well, some people say, well, can I just have one drink? Well, yeah, you can have one drink and it's fine. You have one drink, or is it? You have to really ask yourself that question, because you might think it's fine, but is it?
For you too, and I know that you care about people, so I know that you don't place shame on people. That's the whole point, right? There is no shame. We need to bust all of that so you can get better, right? You got to break through all the shame, correct? There's no shame, right, James?
No shame, zero.
No shame, folks. So if you look at it, just look at it objectively and see what's going on. There's no shame to do that. Explain. Okay, so you have two different programs. I kind of want to know the basics of the 30-day challenge and Project 90. Like, what are what's going on there?
So 30-day no alcohol challenge is really a glimpse into the alcohol-free lifestyle. We invite you to take a 30-day break from alcohol just to see how it feels. That is more of a standalone kind of online do-it-yourself kind of challenge. There's a Facebook group. We support you that way. And that's a nice introduction into the alcohol-free lifestyle. Project 90 is more of a premium coaching program. It's more in-depth, where we work with you to rewire your brain and change your relationship to alcohol over the course of 6 months. We work with you very intensely for 90 days. And then for the second 90 days, up until 6 months, we support you along that journey. Project 90 really is for those people who are top professionals or entrepreneurs or business owners, people who would consider themselves high achievers or naturally successful people, but they recognize that alcohol is getting in their way. It's slowing them down. It's leaving them tired and fatigued. And so they're not as productive in their business. They're not as present with their children or their wife or their husband or their staff or their colleagues. Something's missing. Life should feel okay, but it doesn't. And so we really go in there and we help people for 6 months, most intently for the first 90 days, to, like I said, just change your relationship to alcohol. So at the end of the 90 days or the 6 months, you can then make a powerful choice, which is either I'm going to choose to live alcohol free ongoing, or I'm going to have a drink on occasion, but whether I do or whether I don't is neither here nor there, because now I have ultimate power over alcohol. I get to choose, versus what most people are feeling like when they come and join our program, where they feel powerless. They wake up each morning and they say to themselves, I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm going to quit this weekend. And the same story has been playing out for weeks and months and years. And some of them actually do stop for a while, but then the slippery slope gets them, and then it's stop, start, stop, start. So yeah, just to answer your question, 30-day no alcohol challenge is more do-it-yourself, fun little 30 days, get a glimpse of what it feels like. Project 90 is more, we'll work with you intensely for 6 months to fundamentally rewire your brain about alcohol.
I'll tell you, I know for me, once I stopped drinking, like you had a social drinker, I did get more things done. I mean, I'm super busy these days. I got all kind of projects going on. I have a drink occasionally, I do. But for most time, I drink tea at night. Like I said, I drink sparkling water with juice all the time. I didn't, folks, I do his program, but I can tell you what he's saying is so true. I lost weight. I mean, things started happening, and it's so true. I remember when I stopped drinking, I think I lost like 10 pounds that first couple of weeks or some weird shit. Like, they're like, was I drinking that much? I mean, but in a way, you're right. It's that connect. It's not about that much. It's that every day. It's the consistency. When you do anything consistently, whether it's good or bad or in between, it adds up. So we start doing some good stuff by not drinking every day. That's a great thing. It adds up, right?
I mean, what do you think adds up? You know, when you're drinking, what do you think adds up? Like, if you're going to add up what happens? Weight.
Weight is one. And
Yep.
sluggishness and laziness come in because you're just like, oh, I'm
Yes.
just gonna lay here and do that. So sometimes, even when you don't do if you don't have, sometimes when you don't drink heavily, it still doesn't matter. Depression can happen.
Yes.
Doubt can happen. You start seeing things you don't really, maybe not be there. Self-doubt happens. Self-judgment. I think all those things happen. Sometimes what adds up too is that you don't go out anymore. Like, you stop going out. You start I'll have a glass of whiskey at home. I'll sit here and have that every night. And then you stop being social, actually, because just like, I'm just so tired. I'm just so tired from working all day. But why are you tired from working all day? Like, did you work harder and not smarter? That kind of thing. So you stay home and you drink more at home. You just go, I'll just stay home. I'm not gonna go anywhere. I'll see you guys maybe another month or so, or the holidays. I think that adds up too.
Oh yeah. And then also there's the financial cost, because you know, I think what people spend on alcohol is mostly inconsequential when you compare it to the money that they don't generate because they're operating at a 6 out of 10 because of alcohol. So if you own a business, for example, or you're working sales, you can actually put a monetary value on being alcohol free, because let's just say that you're someone that makes, let's just say you make $100,000 a year in your business, and you're a drinker and you're operating at a 6 or a 7 out of 10 most of the time. It's not horrible, but not great. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's all right. Well, let's just say you consistently go alcohol free. Well, now you're going to operate at, say, an 8 or a 9, right? Because you're going to have clarity and focus and energy and productivity and strategy. You're not going to be so tired. You'll make an extra phone call. You'll do another deal. You'll do, like, there's movement and motion that comes from being alcohol free. Well, guess what? Moving from a 6, feeling like a 6 out of 10 to like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 means you could jump from 100 grand a year in your business to 150 or 160 or 200. Let's just say the most conservative number I just mentioned there, which was 150. Right. Well, that's a 50K jump. Okay. So in actual fact, your drinking in that example is costing you at least $50,000 a year. And that doesn't even include what you spend on alcohol. So let's just say that most people spend $5,000 on alcohol. In this example, we go 55,000 divided by 365 is $150 a day that your drinking habits are actually costing you.
That's crazy.
And that's just on a conservative state. I had a member who came into Project 90. His name's Tim Steele. He won't mind me mentioning his name because he did a testimonial for me, but he's a commercial mortgage broker out in the Boston, Massachusetts area. He generated $250,000 more deals inside of the 90 days that he was inside Project 90, which he credits to being alcohol free and having clarity and focus and making some additional phone calls and having the strategy to call the right people. $250,000 additional business in 90 days just because he stopped drinking attractively packaged poison.
I mean, to me, it makes them, I'm of sound mind, obviously. So to me, it sounds like, yes, that makes sense. Clarity is the biggest thing on earth, right? I mean, to have a clear mind to do stuff, that sounds, right to me. And anything you do that actually softens that's not good. I mean, that my brain goes, that makes sense, James. That totally makes sense to me. I mean, so folks out there, we gotta get you to that. If you don't feel that way right now, it just makes sense to you. We gotta get you. That's what we gotta get to. Where it's like anything you do, any kind of substance you use to numb that or deaden or soften is not the greatest thing for you in the long run. That's kind of. I mean, and that's food, that's sugar, that's everything. Like you just mentioned things earlier. It's chocolate. I mean, there's a lot of things that we'd use to soften the pain, so to speak, or get through the day or get through the evening. But that you're right. It makes sense to me. I don't know, everything you're saying makes sense to me. You know, I mean,
Right.
so okay. So if people want to, so I want you to tell people where they can find. I know you're at jamesswanwick.com, but like, I mean, tell people where they can find all this stuff. I mean, I'm very and your guide that's on your website and everything. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, if you're listening, I mean, look, easiest thing to do is go to jamesswanwick.com. My last name is spelled Swanwick. It's spelled Swanwick, even though it's pronounced Swanwick. But you can find all the details there. But if you're on a US mobile phone right now, then you can just text me at the number 44222. And if you just send a text that says the word Project 90, I can send you back a schedule link where you can book a call with one of my former clients, and we can have a chat to see whether Project 90 may be for you. Likewise, if you want a free guide where I send you it's kind of like an entrepreneur top professionals guide to quitting drinking on your own, just text me at the number 44222 and just text me the word quit guide, which is one word, quit guide, one word. Just text me there and I'll send you the guide. But like I said, you can just go to jamesswanwick.com and you'll find most of the details there.
And I will have these in the description below.
Show notes, yeah.
You can do that. You can see that, of course, because he's a great guy. You are affecting positive change in the world, James, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, James. I appreciate you having me on the show, and so are you. You're affecting massive change as well, massive impact. And I'm so glad that we got to chat again. I think 2.5 years apart, I think it was.
Yes, time goes by fast. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but time goes by fast. I don't even understand. But I always remember you. I said I want him back on the show. So I mean, you're welcome back on the show anytime, of course. I mean, we'll get you back on the show again. But I'm always following your progress, and I see all the different things you're doing. But you're actually doing something positive. I love this. It's something, folks. You're doing something positive, folks. Of course. So thank you, James, for being on the show. Stay safe down there in Australia. I'm James Lott Jr. here on JLJ Media. This is my online network now. When he last saw me, it was just a little thing I was doing. Now it's an online network, over 30 shows, from Star Wars to soap operas and everything in between. We're out there trying to make people smile and think. Go to JLJ Media on all social media platforms. This show, A Lot of Help, has a page on Facebook. It's also on every streaming service you can think of, and on my YouTube channel, JLJ Media. So like, subscribe, and comment. If you want to get in touch with him, I'll have the text thing down there for him. You want me to send him a message for? I'll send a message for you, whatever. Be a little nervous. He's here to help you. He's here to help. His people are here to help you. So do not be afraid. There's no shame in anything. Pass it along to anybody you think needs to hear this or see this too. Feel free to do that. And if you need some assistance with that, you can contact me and I can help you share this video or the podcast. But everyone can follow me at James Lott Jr. everywhere. My website is alotofhelp.com. That's Lott with 2 T's, not one. And everyone, please stay safe out there. Be careful and also have compassion. And we'll see you next time.